I need to say a name in the first 30 seconds because apparently that's what the internet likes now. Milo Winter. There. The algorithm is fed. It may bless us, it may ignore us, it may send us to the shadow realm. We'll see. But this isn't really about Milo Winter, although Milo Winter inspired the discussion. It's about something bigger. It's about what happens when writing becomes secondary to selling the idea of writing. I'm Darth James and welcome to this episode. Remember to like, subscribe, tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want to support this channel, there are membership, Patreon, Ko-fi, and channel and oh, what's the other one? Substack. There we go. I forgot then. But we're going to talk about this. Let's just dive into a weird side of internet book culture. Let's start here. Online, BookTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever we're currently living digitally, there's some genuinely brilliant self-published writers and traditionally published. But there are a lot of indie writers who blow traditional publishing out of the water. Talent is not the issue. The issue is culture. And I heard this phrase recently, shout out to Cheat Sheet Productions, I'll link them below, grift culture or grift talk. And the more I kind of sat there with those words rolling around my head, the more uncomfortable it made me because I've seen it. I started noticing patterns. And someone appears on your feed and they don't have a book yet. They have an aesthetic. They have a playlist for their book. They have cover art. They have mood boards. They have 5 alternative covers for a novel they haven't even written. They have merch. They have a Patreon. They have pre-orders. The book? Still in the realm of coming soon. And people are applauding. And I don't mean polite clapping. I mean standing ovation energy for something that does not exist. Now let's make this very clear. Marketing your book is not an act of evil. Building hype is not a bad thing. Talking about your writing process, brilliant, I love that. But there's a shift that happens when the performance of being a writer is more developed than the actual writing itself. And we saw this conversation explode around Milo Winter. Again, we're not dogpiling anyone here, and I'm not naming names beyond anything that's already publicly known. But what I found interesting is the pattern, because it's not one person, it's a system. Here's the circle. A young writer, usually high schooler or college age, starts posting about their up-and-coming fantasy trilogy, starring a capybara with a sword. They're charismatic, they're online constantly, they understand short-form content, they know how to sell tropes, enemies to lovers, morally grey villains, found families, touch her and die. You know the list. We all know the list. And the comments fill with, take my money, this is going to change lives, you're already the next big author. And the book isn't even finished. Sometimes it isn't even outlined. Sometimes it's 30,000 words of vibes and nothing more. Then the book drops. There's a spike. Everyone in that circle buys it. Everyone in that circle reviews it. 5 stars, glowing praise. Sometimes, and this is public knowledge, this is not a conspiracy, people review each other's books without reading them. Amazon Goodreads, it happens frequently. There are Discord servers built around this, there are group chats built around this, and suddenly it stops being community support and starts looking like a multi-level marketing scheme. You boost mine, I'll boost yours. You hype my launch, I'll hype your sequel. We all clap for each other. Sales spike, and then they plateau. Or fall off a cliff. Because readers outside the bubble show up. And once that bubble has done what it needs to do, the sales in it stall, or like I said, fall off a cliff, or just stagnate. But once readers outside that bubble show up, they don't know who the creator is, they only know the book. And the book is fine, or rushed, or under-edited, or structurally chaotic, or a first draft wearing a fancy cover. And the reviews level out. 3 stars, 2 stars. Interesting concept, but... needs more development. Promising, but... And suddenly the hype machine moves on to the next aesthetic author, or that author is already moving on to the next book. Now, this is where it gets really uncomfortable. I've been asked more than once to promote books I haven't read. Don't have to read it, just read it, just mention it. Just put it in a wrap up. Just say you're excited. I've been offered money for Amazon and Goodreads reviews, and I've been offered money to trash someone else's book. Well, books, plural. That one was new for me, and that's happened a few times, and I'm not naming names. I'm too old and too tired for internet blood sports. We're not the Roman Empire. But understand what that means. That means for some people it isn't about writing, it's about tension, it's about dopamine. And it's about becoming a brand that happens to produce books. And the book becomes the content, not the writing, not art, just content. Then there's a shift that happens, and I hate using the word shift, but it's the only word I got for this. You start as a writer who makes content, you become a content creator who also writes. They are not the same thing. One is central on the page, the other is centered on the feed. And the feed moves faster than anyone can ever write. Writing is slow, drafting is slow, editing is slow. Developing taste is slow. But BookTok, 30 seconds, instant validation. You post a line like, he was the villain and I was the weapon, 1 million views. Or whatever it is, it might be 1 million now, but you know what I mean. You spend 6 months rewriting your second act, complete silence. Because people want it instantly, they want it now. And it also bleeds into how people consume books on social media as well. Everything has to happen now. But what one do you think the brain prefers? Because I know what my brain would prefer, because of ADHD, instant gratification. Then there's hustle culture, and that creeps in. Write fast, publish fast, drop 3 books a year, build your brand, scale your platform, and somewhere in the noise, no one asks, is the book good? Not aesthetically pleasing, not trope aligned or market savvy. Good. Is the poise and prose interesting? Is the pacing controlled? Are the character arcs earned? Or is it just vibes stitched together with Canva graphics? And listen, I know this sounds like I'm yelling at clouds. I promise I'm not. I love indie publishing. I love the people who put their work out. They're braver than me. But oversaturation is real. The indie market right now is packed. Thousands upon thousands of books. And when everyone is told that they're a genius before they've even revised chapter 1, something's broken. Because praise without friction doesn't count as growth. It creates delusion. And that's when any criticism becomes world-ending. A lot of indie spaces right now, and this is the bit people won't like, by the way, is not about the book or books. It's about being seen as a writer. It's about the aesthetics of writing, the motivational mug, the future best-selling author bio, the playlist, the dramatic reading of chapter 1 that hasn't been edited. It's dopamine farming. And it feels incredible to be told you're brilliant. It feels incredible to have strangers scream in the comments when they'll die for your character. But that feeling is not the same as being good, and confusing those two things is dangerous, and I know that one firsthand. I also want to say this very clearly, this is not everyone. Like I said at the beginning, there are indie authors doing amazing things, improving book by book, not screaming about pre-orders before the draft is done. There are people doing the work, but they're quieter because craft doesn't go viral. Conflict does, hype does, controversy does. Milo Winter's trends. A well-structured second act does not. The deeper issue, I think, is identity. When you build your entire online presence around being author of X before X is even finished, any criticism feels, well, existential. Because it's not just the book being criticised, it's the brand, it's the persona, it's the aesthetic. And then we get pile-ons, we get defensive comments, we get, if you don't like it, you're a hater, instead of, okay, this didn't land, let me get better. And maybe this is just me being older now. I've been online long enough. I've seen the cycles. I've seen these writing circles and review circles and all of this stuff. Wattpad waves, Tumblr writers, Twitter, Discord, you name it. Now, BookTok fantasy empires built on tropes and Dollar Tree ring lights. The pattern repeats, the platforms change, and the psychology doesn't. If you're a writer, actually write. If you have to get comfortable being bad in private, that's the best way to put it. That is the best advice I've ever been given. You have to get comfortable being bad in private. You don't have to write things no one applauds, but you have to write things that mean something to you. And you throw away your draft sometimes, or you scream at it, or you pretend you never wrote it. Simple. That's it. You have to draft chapters that don't get aesthetic edits. You have to sit in silence and improve. You have to write things when no one claps. That's not marketable. You can't sell, I wrote chapter 7 8 times and cried. Actually, you probably could on TikTok, but you get my point, right? I think the scariest part of grift talk culture isn't the money. Most people aren't getting rich. It's the illusion. The illusion that applause equals ability. The illusion that community hype equals quality. And the illusion that branding equals longevity. Because when the applause fades, and it always does, you're just left with the work. And if your work can't stand alone, there's nothing to hold you up. So what's the alternative? Slow down, finish the book before selling it, let beta readers be honest, stop reviewing books you haven't read, refuse money for fake praise, build something that survives outside your friend group. Write because you need it, not because you need engagement. And if you're young, and yes, I'm old enough to say that now, this isn't me telling you to stop dreaming. Dream big. But don't confuse marketing with mastery. One fades fast, the other builds over time. Milo Winter isn't the story, the culture is. And until we're honest about that, we're going to keep repeating this cycle over and over again. New aesthetic, new hype, new crash out, same lesson. Anyway, those are my thoughts, and if you've seen this happen, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. Just maybe read the book first.